What is going on, 931 podcasters? It's your boy, Ben Roethlisberger is washed, aka Nathan. I'm here with Jonnu Smith's hands, aka Zach. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about week 3 of the NFL. And we're going to be talking about our predictions for week 4 for our personal favorite teams. I just wanted to start by saying, bro, my background a little nicer than yours. Got the Vincent Van Gogh in the back, you know what I'm saying?
With white?
Well, I mean, do you got Vincent Van Gogh in the back, bro?
I got my R2D2 Disney hat
Okay, yeah. That's a good point.
in
So,
various shoe boxes.
what'd you think about that Justin Tucker kick, bro?
I think it should have never happened because of the delay game, but was still pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was awesome.
If only Cody Parkey had that luck, then the Bears would have went farther in the playoffs and whatever. But
Mhm.
he's either the second or the best kicker of all time, next to Adam Vinatieri.
I kind of feel like
But
that was something that might have secured his GOAT position right there. I mean, 66 dang yards.
yeah, that's true. But Adam Vinatieri is the all-time leading scorer in the NFL.
Yeah, that is a very good point. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to see where
A-
Justin Tucker's career takes him.
And it's kind of hard to compare Super Bowls with kickers because they're just kind of there along the ride.
Yeah,
But he did win New England like two of them, two of the Super Bowls, maybe three.
yeah. I mean, that's a pretty big deal.
I
Like
just
special
know that
teams
one
goes a lot
against the
longer of a
Eagles
way
wasn't him.
than people give them
Yeah,
credit for.
but going back to it never should have happened. The Ravens did kind of get bailed by the refs because that play clock was out for
Hmm.
like 2 seconds and they let him snap it still to get that play into field goal range.
Hmm.
Speaking of the refs screwing over teams, the Cowboys, they may have not lost, but how on God's name did they not count Dak in on that sneak?
Dude,
That was
that
ridiculous.
was I was surprised that actually made me mad, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like it was clearly in. That's some bull crap. Like come on, bro.
I was going up against Zeke in fantasy, so they ran it with him, and he got stuffed, and I was so excited. And then they snuck it with Dak, and he still got it, but they didn't give it to him. So that's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But Cowboys still blew the brakes off those Eagles,
I'm telling you,
which
man.
is kind of like a
It was nice to
hate
watch that.
situation.
I mean, for me personally, the Eagles are my least favorite team. Not because they're division rivals, not because anything the actual team itself has done. I just am annoyed by the fans. And so watching the Eagles get wrecked was very nice. It was fun. I wish we would have won by
It
more than
was.
20 points. We should have got that touchdown. And we shouldn't have got that.
Yeah,
Okay, that fumble in the end zone, kind of embarrassing. Kind of feel like it was a bad play call, but what can you
yeah.
do?
Passing it when you're in your own end zone is never a good idea.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking when it happened. I was like, why did you guys do that? But despite that, I feel like that was really the only hiccup of the whole game. I mean, you got Trayvon Diggs with that beautiful, beautiful interception. Dak Prescott had a pretty didn't have like crazy numbers, but he had 3 touchdowns and 238 yards. Then Zeke finally had a pretty darn good game, 90 yards, and Dalton Schultz proving that he's the big boy tight end with 2 touchdowns and 80 yards. So I was very satisfied with the game.
And going off of, you probably didn't see this, but throwing it in their own end zone, the Dolphins decided to run a wide receiver screen
Oh, I
about
did see
4 or
that.
5 yards deep in their own end zone. It wound up being a safety, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it did cost them the game because they did wind up losing.
Hmm. I'd say it's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever seen. Watching that, I was
Yeah,
just like, why?
ridiculous.
Such a I guess surely that wasn't planned. I mean, it was probably just a stupid decision. in the moment. I sure hope it was. If that was planned, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe it was an RPO. I haven't watched the play over and over again, but maybe it was an RPO and he saw that the corner was decently far back so he could get it off in time, but I guess he didn't count the ball being in the air for that long and it not being an accurate pass.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And somehow we still lost to them, so it's a double L. Speaking of losing, we did lose by 15 in a horrible game to watch. I would have rather not watched it. I would have rather watched the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, quite honestly.
Me too.
And gosh, Jonnu Smith, going back to my name for this episode, it feels good knowing I can catch better than an NFL tight end that gets paid millions more than I do.
He can. I assure you guys, he's a great catcher.
It's ridiculous. Like, we lost by 15, so I'm not going to say he cost us the game, but he cost us a better shot of winning that game because the opening play of the second half, we passed it to him and he just bobbled it up and Jenkins takes it in for a touchdown. First play of the second half.
Yeah, that was a
Right after
pretty embarrassing play to watch.
it was. Another embarrassing play is we were literally mid-sack on Jameis Winston, and homie like just heaves it up in the end zone. And I say heaves, but it was like a 15-yard pass. But
Mm-hmm.
he just heaves it up, and he gets it over our cornerback for a touchdown, and it's so stupid. The fact we didn't lose that game by 30 or more is surprising. Props to our defense for doing their job until we needed them to do it, and then they choked.
Do you think the Patriots are
We
gonna improve?
uh potentially, maybe. Maybe once our offensive coordinator decides to call plays that aren't designed for high schoolers, probably. But
Um,
if he doesn't, then we gonna be in the top 15 picks again, unfortunately. The first half ended 14-3, and we were driving. We were gonna score a touchdown on that play. It's like second and 10 from the 15-yard line, and he calls two run plays with our fourth string running back. There's like you don't do that. It's like under 2 minutes on the clock. I mean, I can understand running the ball once, but you don't do it back to back.
yeah.
And that kind of play calling is exactly why we lost to Tennessee 2 years ago in the playoffs. Is
Mm-hmm.
because of his repetitive runs in the red zone, which costed us a touchdown and another opportunity to win that game. Because it was so if we got that touchdown there, it would have been 14-10. And then Janu didn't, if he learned how to freaking catch, we potentially could have scored on that drive because of momentum, maybe,
Yeah.
and it would have been 17-14. And then we could have maybe played more defense from there because it was 21-13 or 21-3 at that time because of the tipped interception
Mm-hmm.
or 21-6 or whatever. I don't know, but it's just petty mistakes lost that game away.
Yeah.
Mistakes you don't see New England make very often.
I'm not gonna
Just
lie.
can't give games away like that.
I feel like they're definitely gonna lose to the Buccaneers.
It's kind of like how a lot of the fan base has been this past week on Instagram, Facebook. Well, not Facebook. They have no sense of humor, but they're dreading it more than looking forward to a game. And I'm looking forward to it because I don't think we're gonna lose as bad as people think. Bill never lets us lose as bad as people think or win as bad as people think. I think it'll be closer. If we do lose, I think it'll be by 10 or less. He's saying that we'll lose by 21 plus. But the Bucks secondary is struggling due to injuries,
Yeah.
so they had to sign Richard Sherman just to stop Mac Jones, and he's not even going to play this week. So
Yeah.
we're going up against a bad secondary, but a strong front seven at that. And hopefully we get our starting right tackle back because our backup one sucks so much. He's the second coming of Marshall Newhouse, which was, if you're a Patriots fan, you know he's like, you could stick a high schooler in at right tackle and he'd do better, if not the same.
Tim Tebow.
But if Trent Brown comes back, our offensive line should be good enough to keep that pressure from getting to Mac and him nearly dying again.
Hmm.
And so offensive line has to play good, receivers got to catch, run game has to be there, and our defense has to play good. And I think that'll keep us close or potentially win us that game.
Hmm.
I think that's those four key factors is what I think will win the game.
I was saying before we started the podcast, I feel like just the egos between Brady and Belichick. I just feel like there's no way that either one of them isn't going to do everything in their power to make sure that they win. I think it's going to be a very interesting game.
Hey, I'm just saying, New England better check the air pressure in that football on Buck's side. All I'm saying. All I'm saying.
It's funny, like all the stinking drama surrounding Brady and Belichick and the Patriots has just been floating around online. I guess just
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just like ESPN trying to get hype for the game going, or I don't know what it is, but it seems like everything's coming out now. Like apparently, whenever
Hmm.
Tom Brady left, I saw something today. He wanted to meet in person to say goodbye, and Belichick didn't want to. He wanted to do it over phone call.
There was also like some dude wrote a book. I think his name is like Seth something with a W, and he had a quote in there that said Robert Kraft, which is the owner of the Patriots, called Bill Belichick the biggest a-hole of his life because of something along those lines. But some people are saying that those quotes from that book are just from other people that were next to him. They're not direct quotes from Bill, Tom, or Robert Kraft. So,
Hmm.
when there's a store to be broke, rumors will fly.
Has any like actual information been released as to like what ruined their relationship? Because like obviously they, at least for a long time, worked very well together.
So I think what really drove him away was Bill's management of the team. And like his best receiver for the last season he was there was Jacoby Myers,
Hmm.
and he's an undrafted free agent. Well, okay, and there was Julian Edelman, but you look at that team, which was like one of the worst offensive performances in the league. Granted, we still finished like 12-4.
Hmm.
Lucky to start with that 8-0 run against bad teams, which made our defense look super good.
Yeah.
And then he goes down to Tampa, which finishes with the best defense and I'm gonna say the best offense because I did. But and then you still look at the management of the team. Granted, they had Cam last year as their quarterback and they sucked. So their offense still sucked while the offense went up because of Brady being there.
Yeah.
Just the pieces he builds behind him, draft picks, free agents, stuff like that, trades even. Traded away Brandon Cooks for like one good player we got out of a draft pick, and that's Isaiah Wynn. And it's just stuff like that. I mean, it even makes fans mad when we see stuff like that happen.
Yeah.
And everyone says, "In Bill we trust," but I'm like, why are we trusting this guy if he's throwing away good players for mediocre players? There's just no reason to do that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that is what drove him away. Guarantee it. And pay is probably that big of a problem,
Hmm.
but something along those lines.
I remember that last season where he was in New England. I mean, the whole conversation was, is Tom Brady washed? Like, is he about done? Because of how bad their offense was that year. And
Mm.
I remember we talked about it at the time, and I think we both had a feeling that he's not washed. Like he literally just, well, he'd won a Super Bowl like the year before that, right? So it's like he's not washed. It's just the offense stinks.
Yeah, like he had 24 passing touchdowns and 9 interceptions, I think. But he finished like top five in passing yards. He had like 5,000 or 5,300 or something.
Hmm.
So it's like it's about what's going to happen to Mac. Honestly, he's got 787 passing yards and two touchdowns because we can't score. And that was what happened with that New England team that year.
Yeah, I think if New England can get their talent up, I think Mac Jones will be very good.
Yeah, offensive offensive line was like coming into the season. Our one strong point, we felt like this is perfect. We don't need to focus on this at all.
Hmm.
And then we get into the season, and it's our Achilles heel.
Yeah,
We
that
really thought it
stinks.
was going to be cornerbacks and defense, but they've played better than the offense, quite honestly. Think you know what you're doing just for you to get into the situation and not know what you're doing.
I think the Patriots do pretty
Just
well for. I mean, don't take this like the wrong way, but I feel like they don't really have a lot of like big name like star players, and I feel like they still do fairly
sure.
well for only having like a couple.
Because Bill gets the best out of his players. We took a no-name
Yeah.
linebacker from Detroit, and we won two Super Bowls, but we went to three with him. And then he left in free agency, signed some big contract with Miami just for them to cut him the year after,
Hmm.
and now he's back. But Bill makes those players. Trey Flowers was another one. We drafted him. He balled. He left. Got a $90 million contract from Detroit. He just gets the best out of players that look like they won't ever survive. Julian Edelman, specific. Julian Edelman, Tom Brady.
Hmm.
Look at where they came from. Sixth and seventh round picks from Kent State and Michigan turned into the best quarterback of all time and the second greatest wide receiver in playoffs, receiving wise. Knows how to turn players into what they are, but then again, he also knows how to drive them out of the league quicker than that.
Yeah, he definitely has a big talent. I think it seems like maybe he's struggled with a couple of things maybe the last few seasons.
Yeah, that is for sure. Offense has struggled, and you want to go straight to it being because Tom Brady left, but you can't just blame one person leaving for why the offensive sucks. Now, then again, it was the most important position on the team that left, but and then Cam didn't have time to like get touched up on all the offense, and he sucked as a passer, so they ran it with him all the time, and that was too predictable, just like the rest of the offensive play calling from Josh McDaniels. Offense has sucked over the past couple of years. Even when Brady was here, it sucked watching.
Yeah, I think how it is in football is just some years you have the talent and some years you don't. Like you might still have some of those great players, but if you don't have enough of that good talent, then it's probably not gonna. You just gotta wait till you do, really. And I think the Cowboys have finally got the talent this year. I really don't know what's gonna happen with this game against the Panthers because the Panthers are 3-0, but they also really haven't played that good of teams. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this week will be a test similar to the Broncos. I think this will really be a test of like how actually good are the Carolina Panthers. Personally, I think the Cowboys will win, but I think it'll be definitely be a closer game than the one with the Eagles. What do you think?
I do think that the Cowboys will come out and win that game. And I don't want to bring it back to the Patriots, but I feel like the Broncos, the the Panthers, and teams like them who don't really play competition, but their record makes them look good. They're just like how New England was in 2019 when they were 8-0. We played garbage teams, still won, made us look good, just to turn around and play a good team, and we get wrecked.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going to happen. I think the Panthers. Now, I'm not calling the Panthers a bad team because their defense is legit, and their offense is going to struggle this week because they're out of Christian McCaffrey, and Chuba Hubbard's going to have to step up
Yeah.
along with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson if they actually want to pass to him, and their other receiver, which I forgot his name, but they have to. Wide receivers and that backup running back have to step up big time for them to make offensive plays. And their defense, I think, will be just fine against Dak and Zeke and their offense. But Dallas's defense has looked much improved.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I think they'll do completely fine against the Panthers. I'm not expecting a 35-42 type game. Not expecting either team to drop more than 30. I think the combined, they'll probably score under 50. I'd say probably 17-28, 17-24, something around there. Because I think it'll be a defensive showout, I think.
That's fair.
Surprisingly enough, with Dallas.
So far, all of our
But
predictions have come true on the podcast, so
that is true.
we'll see.
Except for all the rookie quarterbacks starting week 3. We were almost right, me and Larry were, but my original prediction was week 8 and his was week 5. So we still have 2 weeks for Trey Lance to start, and maybe they start thinking about it
Hmm.
after this loss to Green Bay.
I mean, it
Because
was a close game, though.
they almost turned it over on downs at the end of the half trying to get that ball in, and Jimmy G couldn't do it, so they had to send Trey Lance out there to run it in. So maybe, so now that's like the third or fourth time they've had Trey Lance go out there and run it in, and people are going to start expecting when he comes out on the field, it's an automatic run. Same with
Yeah.
Taysom Hill. And so eventually you're just going to have to start him and trade Jimmy G before. I think Jimmy G will be traded at deadline. I feel like that's a good prediction to put out there because I don't know what his contract looks like, but I'd want something out of him before he leaves because eventually he knows you're going to start Trey Lance. But
Who do you
I
think
think
he would get
stuff
traded
like
to?
that, I want to say Texans, but Texans have a million quarterbacks. I can't think of another team really.
Maybe
Maybe
like
no,
Miami.
not the Bears. Maybe Miami. I think Brissett and I think Tua. Honestly, he's probably going to end up like Drew Luck, retiring early before his career ever even gets to take off.
Yeah.
But
Kind
something
of
along
kind of
those lines.
speaking
He
of
just
that
can't stay
topic,
healthy.
like we were talking about earlier, I feel like Sam Darnold is another like excellent example of like just how being on a different team can really just change everything.
Being away from Adam Gase, they have gone into the history of that man. And just to show you how crazy it is, the second he graduated high school, the next year, his high school team won the championship, the state championship that year. And like the minute he leaves every team, they go on to have success. It's just ridiculous.
That's his
He's
role. He plays it well.
yeah, he gets him that overall that high draft pick, and then 2 years later he's gone, and they go on to win some kind of have some success. He's a liability to any team he's on, and I don't know what team he's on now. I know he's like an offensive something for some team. Seeing how bad the Bears are playing, he's probably on their offensive side. That shoot, he's probably on ours somewhere.
I'm glad to see Matthew Stafford doing very well too.
Mm,
He's finally getting his spotlight.
yeah, the Rams are balling, which
Oh
they
yeah,
just knocked off the Buccaneers
I know,
on the
dude.
undefeated list, which into angry mode just for him to come to New England next week. So thanks, Matt Stafford, for that. Daggone. It'd be different if we beat the Saints, so we'd have some momentum, but we're both just bad.
Hmm.
We'd lose it.
Yeah, I'd like to watch that game, but I just think the Bucks are definitely gonna win. There's not really much of a doubt in my mind. I
You're
mean, it'd
welcome
be
to come over to
pretty
watch
awesome to
it,
see
though.
them, you know, Patriots to win that game. That'd be pretty cool.
If the
Underdog
Patriots
story.
won that game, I would not care if we missed the playoffs. I kid you not. I will put that on the line right now. If we, I mean, shoot, we have to win the division, I'm assuming, to make the playoffs anyway, because of how stacked the kind of top 2 teams in each division are now. But if we win that game, I'm okay with missing the playoffs by a little bit. Not like we have a losing season and we suck.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would be. But then again, it's like Brady was our quarterback, and I don't want to see him get screwed out of that record of beating every team in the NFL.
Yeah, that'd be
But
kind
then
of cool.
again, it's like you ditched us, so
Yeah, now screw you.
screw off basically. And like, you know me, I'm obviously a huge Brady fan. I will take up for him whenever it's called for. But this week, he never played for us. He never did. He was never on New England. He's the Buccaneers quarterback. My eyes. That's why Mac Jones is better.
It's a
That's why
revenge
we.
game.
That's why we. That's why we got rid of Tom Brady. It's because Mac Jones was coming in. Can you imagine though the headline Monday morning if Mac Jones beats Tom Brady? Oh my gosh, it'll be
He'd never
electric.
hear the
That
end.
week will be electric.
Listen,
If
people
we
always
win
say
this
the
game,
memes
I
like
feel like we will have enough momentum to finish the season undefeated. Guarantee it.
people always
Beating
use
your
the memes
Cowboys, beating Larry's Tennessee Titans.
like Eli Manning and like they're gonna they're just gonna throw him in with those quarterbacks.
They're just gonna like the Monday Night Manning. They have Mac Jones on there as a guest talking about how he just beat Tom Brady.
That'd be savage, dude.
It would be,
He's got
but
a cigar in his
they're
mouth.
taking a 3 week break. So, dude, that would be
That'd be pretty dank.
that picture would be everywhere. Yeah, he's smoking a cigar after beating Tom Brady.
That kind of reminds me of the Eagles head coach. Uh, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but
Doug Peterson. No,
nah,
wait, this year's
yeah,
Nick Sirianni
yeah. He was wearing like a some kind of shirt
beat
that
Dallas
said
shirt.
"Beat Dallas" before the game, and I think he came to regret that. Everybody was giving him crap for that
Yeah,
after the
because
game.
yeah, even the Cowboys Instagram, they edited a photo that said "Beat by Dallas" on it.
I don't know if I saw that. That's
That was
funny.
that was funny.
Bro, if they sold those, I might have to cop. Dude, I was wanting to cop a
A rare
Trayvon Diggs
Cowboys
jersey after
jersey.
that game, bro.
Huge facts. That was just a bad. Like, I'm not discrediting Diggs for that, but that was a
Yeah.
bad decision by Jalen to throw that. I get it was his first read,
Yeah.
but he was too tight of coverage for that.
hmm
Simple mistakes like that is what's going to cost you game if you're on a better team in a closer environment. So,
Trayvon Diggs is just so much better this season than last season. I mean, people were giving him
because he
crap
was
all
on Hard
last
Knocks.
season because he really wasn't all that great, but dang, man. He's a lot better this year. I love him.
Yeah. Speaking of a defender that's like stepping up, Matt Judon for New England, he is going to be a star this season. He had 3 sacks, 3.5 on Jameis Winston, which was he he won MVP for that game somehow. It was just like in the we were so bad, and for us to get a sack or something, it was just amazing to watch because you feel like, oh boy, we're back on offense. Hopefully, we can drive down the field and score, knowing you're gonna go 3 and out and punt just for to watch 5 more minutes of defense.
hmm
But Matt Judon and Trayvon Diggs are definitely stars of each of our teams right now. The biggest star on defense. And Micah Parsons had a nice play the other night. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he got either a quick tackle or sack, something along those lines. It was like early in the game.
I
So
don't remember off the top of my head,
I don't either,
but
which is weird because I remember stupid stuff like that.
Micah Parsons, there was like such a big scare towards the end of that game. There was like 4 minutes left. I don't even know why he was still in the game, but he got hit in the ribs, and like he was down for a while. And I mean, he's like perfectly fine, but it was scary, dude.
That's a bad coaching decision to keep him in there. I get he's a rookie and you want to get him more reps, but you would like have to fire a coach immediately after. Were you guys still up by like 17 at that point?
Yeah, the only reason they scored that last touchdown, I think, was because we put a lot of our secondary players in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it to Jalen Hurts though. That was a pretty nice touchdown throw there at the end. He was like running out of bounds and he just kind of slung it in there. It was nice. I was very disappointed when I watched it. I was just kind of sat there in silence, but it was nice. I got to give it to him. Not as
Yeah.
nice as Dak's throw to CeeDee Lamb at the within 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah. The Cowboys had like 3 possessions within 5 minutes of that game. So
Yeah, if it hadn't been that
that was
stupid turn, that was dumb, bro. Stupid fumble
I
in the
think
I
that
cannot
pass to
believe that.
CeeDee Lamb should have been a touchdown if CeeDee Lamb caught it over the shoulder or something, but instead he jumped up to catch it, so he was down at the 1.
You know what
But
else should have been
still
a
scored
touchdown
regardless.
in that game? Dex run up the middle. This should have been
Yes,
touchdown.
that is true. I will say I switched to the Monday Night Manning almost immediately after hearing about Dak's ankle being broken for the 15th time. swear. It's so annoying to listen to.
Well,
I
I
don't know
mean,
why
I think it
commentators
was
feel
a
like they
good
have to talk
topic.
about the same injury over and over again.
I feel like it was. I think it was good for them to talk about that. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with it because that was the first time he's played in Dallas since the injury, and for him to come back from a crazy bad injury like that and to play as good as he has, and I think being a home game, all the fans were excited to see him, and so I think it was a big deal. So I
Yeah,
disagree.
but like I don't think talking about it, keeping it throughout the entire game is. It was the same with Christian McCaffrey's ankle or his hamstring in the Panthers game last Thursday. That was like if there was a moment of dead air, it was brought up in conversation, even though they had talked about it 2 minutes beforehand.
Mhm.
And I saw a comment, and it was like these commentators are treating a broken ankle like he just got over cancer or something, and that's kind of the way they were treating it. But the NFL, they like to make the most out of every situation, try and popularize a game that only Cowboys and Eagles fans are going to watch. So,
Imagine drafting Christian McCaffrey.
for real.
I knew it was a bad idea, dude. I mean, I wouldn't have been able to get him
Yeah,
anyways because I had the second pick, but I knew
I was kind
I
of
knew it was
talking
a bad
about that
idea.
a week or two ago before Derrick Henry really stepped up. I was like, daggum, Nathan really took Derrick Henry over Christian McCaffrey because he was scared of another injury. And
The
then Derrick
Titans are
Henry
playing
got
the
here.
Jets this week, right?
Yeah, so
So
get ready for a 44 performance.
yeah, dude, he's expected to get 18 points. Nah, it's at least gonna be 30, bro. I'm telling you right now.
Dude, yeah. I, Another prediction for the podcast. He's going to finish with at least 3 touchdowns and at least 150 yards on the ground.
I see
Not
it.
scrimmage yards, on the ground.
I see it.
Imagine I say that and he winds up getting like 20 rushing yards like he did against the Cardinals.
Gosh,
That'd be
I'd be
crazy.
so mad.
Dude, imagine Tennessee loses to the Jets, though. Imagine, like, you could not recover from that.
I agree.
You
Yeah.
you couldn't. They're like, there's no bright side to losing to the Jets after they lost 20. I think the most points they've scored is 20 in the whole season.
L.
And it's just, yeah, which is 5 points less than what our highest score in a game has been. So,
Speaking of running backs, I forgot to mention Dallas is kind of becoming like a kind of a dual running back threat, kind of like
mhm,
Cleveland, because I
yeah.
mean it seems like it's almost 50-50 with the snaps for Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard. I have Tony Pollard in our fantasy league, and it's just I don't know when to play him because like you never know when he's gonna go off, which is probably a good thing when you're actually as a fan watching the game, because like I feel like one of our strengths in this last game was like the there wasn't really one player who got like a ton of attention. Like it felt like it was divided out. Like Amari Cooper got several passes to him. CeeDee Lamb got several. Cedric Wilson, Dalton Schultz, Tony Pollard. Like it was all over the place, and I feel like that kind of keeps it like for the defense makes it harder to know like who's it going to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Hmm.
But I think Tony Pollard is great. I think honestly, most underrated player on the Dallas Cowboys, maybe even in the whole NFL. I don't know. He's super underrated. I would say he's almost as good, if not just as good as Zeke. I think he's a lot more like Zeke has kind of the like hard hit power, but I feel like Tony
Hmm.
Pollard has that maneuverability. So I feel like they both have their strengths.
That's kind of how it was with New England and Damien Harris and James White. Damien Harris is the guy that'll punch in that 2, 3 yard line end zone type thing, and James White will be that guy that catches the pass, steals ankles, gets 20 yards off of a catch, and
Hmm.
that's about how Tony Pollard and Zeke are. Which Zeke isn't. Zeke will catch a pass here and there and make something out of it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say Tony Pollard's the most underrated player in the NFL because a lot
Yeah,
of
that's probably a
NFL
stretch, I
fans,
mean, to say.
even last year, like they realize he's good. He's arguably better than Zeke going off of last year, which Zeke is showing signs of he's back. So it's like he's not going to be underrated mainly because of last season how people were saying Pollard is better and Pollard should be starting, stuff like that.
Hmm. I think Zeke is still a start over Pollard, but
Yeah,
I think it's close.
you're not going to pay a running back 15 million a year to sit and
Yeah,
get
exactly.
running back 2 reps. But rest in peace to James White, his hip
Yeah.
taken out for the season unfortunately, which would he probably would have played a key role in this upcoming match against Tampa.
Mhm.
I mean, like a key role. So his spot will probably be filled by J.J. Taylor, our 5'6" running back. So
Yeah, that stinks.
big loss, big loss. Yeah, hopefully we make something out of this next week, and maybe both of our teams will get a dub. One
I
more
hope so.
likely than. I think that's gonna be it for today's episode. Good little conversation back and forth while being virtual for the first time.
Yeah, I hope you guys like the cams. Hope it made it more interesting.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this wall filled with stuff if I can figure out my camera. It just flips the photo on everything, so it spells Patriots backwards and Jones backwards and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
But
annoying.
next week, it'll be filled with something more than just this hat, which I was debating on wearing during the episode. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we will catch y'all in the next one. Thank you.
See you guys.